Good morning. It's Saturday morning, mid-June, and it actually just started raining, which it wasn't forecast to rain, but I don't even believe it. I don't think it's really gonna rain for real. So I'm gonna keep going. Um, and I woke up, it was 45 degrees Fahrenheit this morning. Surprised me. And we have a frost warning again. And it is June 15th. So I can't believe it. So I was gonna work on a tropical tree today. Was a plan, but it's not really a tropical morning. It's overcast, kind of windy. Again, a little bit of rain, but I don't believe it. It's not really gonna rain. It's just sprinkling. So I've been thinking of pruning up this dwarf Arctic birch, Betula nana. And really, I guess I realize it's a clump, but I kind of consider it a penjing as well. I have this little mud man here. This is simulating a place that I really enjoy going with my family on a nearby stream. I have these rocks are actually from that stream, and at that stream there's all these alders that grow over the water, and there's frogs there, and little fish. It's a fun place we love to go every year. And when I designed this, I kind of had that feel in mind of this tree or alder hanging over the river. So I moved Mr. Mudman here around to quite a few of my trees. I got them for Christmas and tried them out underneath my Japanese maples and other trees. And then when I placed them here, just felt right. So I'm going to prune this Betula nana up today. So it did end up raining after all, but just for an hour, and it was needed. I'm glad it rained. It's still a little blustery. I'm getting sprinkles, but I'm going to go ahead and start this pruning. So this is Betula nana, dwarf Arctic birch, and my goal is just to take these long shoots here and reduce it down. And the overall goal just to push the foliage back down into the tree further to promote back budding, because I don't mind the height on this. It's a penjing. I don't mind it being kind of wild looking, but I do want to increase the density of the clump and just shorten it. And I've only pruned this now, let's see, I got it last year, and I pruned it right off the bat without repotting, and got a flush of growth after that, so I must have gotten it more in earlier summer. And then maybe gave it another slight prune at the end of summer, so this is maybe only a third time pruning it. And I'll just go, I'm not in a hurry. I love doing this, so I'm not gonna go through it super fast. And I might come back and prune some of these even lower. So I'll just start taking these really long things. This, for instance, is super long. It's 18 inches long, and I'll just take it down. And I did not prune this when I repotted it this spring. I did not prune it at all because birch, from what I understand, if you prune them while dormant, you risk losing branches. And the nice thing about this style of tree for a birch, this big wild clump, is if I lose one of these branches, that's okay. It's not going to just ruin the composition at all. And this is one of those trees, when you find it in the this is what you're looking for. You're looking for nursery material. Is a tree that's been sitting in a pot like forever. This thing, I had actually been eyeing it for, I know, at least 2 years, and thinking, I like that tree. I love the small leaves. They're tiny, so just my style. It's a birch, but just tiny little leaves. And it's a dwarf Arctic birch, but it's not a cultivar. That's just the species. It just has a really small leaf. That's how it grows naturally. And yeah, so I'd been eyeing this tree for a while, and it had all this moss at the bottom, just roots coming out at the base of the pot. It just looked like it had been in that pot for years and years. I have no idea how many, but for some reason, just people weren't buying them. There was even a whole group of them. There was at least 5, 6, 7 of these, and so finally there was a sale, and it was pretty cheap. I can't remember. I feel like something like I got it for $20, and it already, had these nicely developed trunks. And really, it's quite wild. I might take some of these trunks to simplify it, but I honestly just like the wild nature of it. I don't mind it being overgrown, but it's getting pretty overgrown, and I do want to increase the density. And I have noticed with just my 2 previous prunings, it does backbud, so taking these tips off during the growing season, I'm almost surely going to get another flush of growth sometime. I think it's still growing, but it's been growing for a while, and these leaves are, yeah, they seem quite hardened off. So good time to prune. It turns a great yellow color in the fall, and actually some of these leaves are already turning yellow, which I don't know if it doesn't really concern me. I'm not sure. I haven't had this tree very long, so I don't know it very well, what it acts like, but I do know it does backbud. And it handled the repotting really well. It was in a big nursery container with some pretty dense soil, and I was gonna put it in kind of a larger training pot, but then just in the course of the root pruning and repotting, I realized, I think I could stick this in a more finished. I had this bonsai pot, ceramic, that seemed to suit it well. And then, when I repotted too, it made me think of what I described previously, this place I like to go with my family, to this little stream. And so I thought, I'm gonna make a little river or a stream bed right here, and then putting Mr. Mudman in there really completed that Penjing feel that I have with this planting. I've enjoyed this tree, and one good thing, since it's not a dwarf, even though it's a dwarf Arctic birch, it's not truly a dwarf like cultivar, is it grows quite a bit. I think I'm going to get another flush of growth that's several inches long at least throughout this growing season. And I'm not gonna go too crazy. Maybe I'm still a little, I've becoming a lot more comfortable, having done bonsai for several years now, with pruning stuff quite a bit, but I'm just not really into heavily pruning things, I guess, and maybe I am still just a little bit hesitant. I don't want to stress the tree too much, even though it can probably handle a pretty severe root pruning or pruning. But I guess that is one reason why I don't want to really prune it extremely heavily, and that's because I gave it a pretty severe root pruning. So I am going to be a little more conservative, and with just the hopes of promoting some backbudding further in. And I know I have, for instance, this shoot right here, I can tell this was backbudding probably because I pruned the top. And I have a ton of crossing branches in this thing. I know it's kind of a wild mess, but again, it's Penjing. It's a wild scene that I am emulating here, and it's fine. There's crossing branches, whatever. There's branches all over the place, but that's the way. That's what it looks like in this place in the forest that we go to play in the river. We'll go ahead and turn it now. Yeah, so dwarf Arctic birch. I was surprised when I saw this in the nursery the first time. I thought, wow, I wonder like how come I haven't heard anything about this tree? How come um, nobody's using this? Uh, but there are examples online, and I actually found it in my first bonsai book that I got way back when I was a teenager. Tomlinson is the author. I doubt it's like in print anymore. It's a beginning bonsai book, and this is one of the species in the species profile section that's in there, and so people do use it. It's good for colder climates like mine. It's down when planted on the ground. I think it's something like it can be grown in USDA Zone 3, uh, which isn't too much of a surprise because this is a Arctic birch. So it grows, to my understanding, I think it grows kind of like in the tundra. So tough species for cold. And I am gonna go ahead. There's this. I kind of actually like the littler forbs, but this one's a little big for me. I'm gonna go ahead and just pull that out. Other than that, I like the landscape is looking great. This moss really took well. So this is an interior shoot that really shot out, and I think I will nip the end of it, but I won't print it too low. And yeah, really in terms of classical bonsai, this is like it's a mess of crossing branches and crowded branches. Um, yeah, a lot of people consider it a mess, but you know, it's my tree, and I like it. I like it wild, and that can change. You know, right now I'm enjoying it for what it is, but after staring at it for 2 years, I might say, you know what, I'm gonna prune this down to way down. Although again, with birch, I don't think you'd want to just prune it down like you could with, say, a Chinese elm. You could prune all this down to bare branches, and it would bud. But oh look, we got sun. But with birch, again, I don't think, from what I understand, that could cause branch dieback. And if you did that to this birch, if you just pruned it down to bare branches with no vegetation, no leaves on the end, then you might risk just killing that branch, and you'd get suckers and have to basically start over. So I'm not gonna, again, prune this too heavily. And I think gradually though, if I just keep kind of pushing it in, I will reduce the height and hopefully get more back budding on these branches. And this is even, I mean, it's kind of wild now, but when I bought it, it was wild. I did take off, I think, at least 2 or 3 big branches. And that's just their natural growth habit. Just this tundra shrub. And yeah, I'm kind of wrapping up here. It's hard. I see all these crossing branches, and I know what I just said is like, oh, I don't mind them, but I'm like, well, maybe I should trim some of these crossing branches. I don't know. Alright, so I'm going to leave it there for now, and for the extent of this video, I believe. here's what I took off. So really, I mean, I felt like I just barely trimmed it, but when you really look at the cumulative amount in one spot, I reduced it by not 50%, but at least 25, or more like a third. And with the tree being repotted this year, I'd love to be safe and just leave plenty of these little leaves on here to generate energy. Oh, there's one I do want to prune. So that this can back bud and give me another strong flush of growth. But yeah, we'll leave it there. Alright, before I go, I just wanted to say thank you to everybody for your kind comments, for subscribing. I really do appreciate it. I'm about 6 weeks in now, and it is really nice just to have some people that have been watching and commenting, and I do sincerely appreciate it. So thank you, and happy bonsai. And that rain was not enough to water my trees thoroughly, so I'm gonna go ahead and water my trees now.